Hello everyone, this is Michala Petersen, and tonight I am so excited to talk to you about something that I have touched on the last few weeks. So first we talked about sugar and what it does to the immune system and how it depletes the immune system and feeds cancer. Then we talked about the alkalinity of our bodies and why having our body in an alkaline state is so important. And now we're going to talk about produce. And I don't know if you're like me, I always heard eat your fruits and vegetables. You know, I learned a little bit 1 week of nutrition training in pharmacy school, but I never understood why we need produce. And so that's what we're going to kind of dive into tonight. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to guess how much produce we should eat on a daily basis. The second thing we're going to do is we're going to talk about why produce is important and how it serves our body. And then the third thing we're going to talk about is the challenge, especially in cancer patients, but really in any chronic disease patients. So the first is, how many servings of produce do you think you need on a daily basis? So you can comment in the comments which you think is true. So this first platter here is 2 servings of fruits and vegetables. That would be option number 1. Option number 2 is 5 servings of produce. Okay, you see this here. The third option would be 7 to 13 servings of produce. So that's number 3. And then number 4 is this gigantic bowl here that even the fake fruit is kind of heavy. So that would be option number 4. So you can comment below which you think is the right daily amount, and then we'll talk about that at the very end. So, okay, so why do we need produce? If you can imagine your body with polka dots all over it, and those polka dots are free radicals. That's kind of a fancy name, but the free radicals are toxins, and those toxins lead to oxidative stress, and the oxidative stress leads to inflammation. And inflammation is the root of all disease, in my opinion. So what produce does, what fruits and vegetables do, fruits and vegetables contain phytochemicals, which is really everything that makes up a fruit or vegetable, from the color to the enzymatic activity to what it actually does to serve our body. So that's what a phytochemical is. And then antioxidants they really protect healthy cells, okay? So the foods highest in antioxidants are gonna be your really dark fruits and vegetables, like pomegranates and raspberries and blueberries and those things that in Nebraska we don't necessarily have great access to vine ripened produce in the dead of winter, but that's what those are. So if you can imagine your body full of polka dots, full of those toxins, what fruits and vegetables do is every single phytochemical or antioxidant that's in a fruit or vegetable is an opportunity to latch on to one of those polka dots in our body. And so what the produce does then is it keeps those toxins in a holding pattern, and then we naturally get thirsty. And so our bodies then are able to whisk those toxins away through your kidneys and your liver to be eliminated. Okay, so that's really the reason that, you know, produce, every time you eat a piece of whole food, fruits or vegetables or berries, that is a chance to rid your body of toxic chemicals that lead to disease, right? Okay, so let's talk a little bit about the produce that is highest in nutrition, highest in the antioxidants, that ability to get rid of the toxins. So these are your dark green leafy vegetables. These are, you know, the fruits and vegetables that are richest in color. So you think about it, if you are somebody that you know is undergoing chemotherapy or radiation, you automatically have more toxins in your body because your body is producing more free radicals. So it's even more imperative in that state to get the most produce in your system that you possibly can. So if there aren't enough antioxidants in your system to protect the healthy cells from the free radicals, then that also allows cancer to thrive. So there is a little thing, a little test, you can Google this, called ORAC, ORAC. It stands for Oxygen Radical Absorbance Capacity. And the deepest colored produce are highest in that ORAC value. So those are the ones we want to consume. Ironically enough, the things that we consume a lot, like corn and grapes and apples, are actually really low on the ORAC value. So even if we think, oh, we got 2 servings of fruits and vegetables today, the specific, the color really does matter, and we want that deep, rich color. Okay, so we're gonna guess now. Some of you probably guessed platter 1. This is 2 servings of fruits and vegetables. This is actually what an average American gets on a daily basis. Okay, the second platter, option number 2, was 5 servings of fruits and vegetables. And this is what a healthy American gets on a daily basis. This last platter was 13 servings of produce. And this is actually what every single person, young and old, anyone that can eat food, should consume on a daily basis if you don't have any cancer or chronic disease, or you're not pregnant or breastfeeding, or you're not an athlete. And if you are any of those things, then you actually should be consuming this bowl of produce on a daily basis. And I don't know a single person that does that. But just take, for instance, this orange right here. This orange has over 10,000 phytochemicals, 10,000 chances to latch onto those toxins in our body. So you can see why we need to eat produce, and more importantly, why we need to get produce in our kids to prevent disease. So I would be totally remiss if I was telling you to eat all these deep colored things, and the deep colored produce are the ones that are kind of strongest in flavor also. Maybe not those that we can get in our kids on a daily basis. And so my family found an easy button, and pretty much everyone that I have coached with cancer also has found this, and that is called Juice Plus. And Juice Plus is vine-ripened produce that is picked at the optimum nutrition stage, yes. And then it is juiced and then pulverized and put into a capsule. And it has 38 published clinical studies and counting, been studied in cancer patients, pregnant women, and children, and has absolutely transformed our life. We've had a few sick days here and there, but only 1 sick visit in over 3 years. So we know from the research that Juice Plus increases immunity. I don't know a single person on the planet that couldn't benefit from that, but especially if your body is in a cancerous state. We need all the immunity that we can get. We know, number 2, that it increases natural killer cells. And I mentioned in the sugar video that natural killer cells are what roams around our body and eats irregularly growing cells. So we know that just 80 days, those little guys are increased a whole bunch. And then third and foremost, it improves DNA. So if you are undergoing treatment, and that's sloughing good cells as well as bad cells, you need that repair, which is awesome. So the challenge of all of this, and this is kind of the third point, is that 80% of people with cancer are malnourished. And so how important, it's so important during a cancerous stage to eat that much produce. But nobody feels like eating that on a daily basis, especially if you're undergoing treatment or you have cancer. And so that's where this is just kind of an easy button and an easy way to get that micronutrient, those micronutrients into your system that are gonna help your good cells fight and, not help the bad cells, not feed the cancer. So diet can be a complementary tool in your healing arsenal, and it's kind of backwards from what we would think. So you can not only make dishes taste good or produce taste good, but you can also heal your body as you're eating them. So one of the books that I love is called The Cancer Fighting Kitchen. It's a great resource. It's got a lot of great information in it. one of the things that it talks about is when people go, and I was an example of this, I witnessed this firsthand. When people go to the oncologist, they're told this is the treatment, surgery, radiation, chemo, and then really anything beyond that is just complementary. And actually, if you think about it, cancer has a nutritional component. We've talked about that before. So nutrition can also help that state and help our bodies get to a state that really help us to stride through cancer, right? So so plant-based foods, spices, we're going to talk about those in weeks to come. Herbs, they all have a ton of phytochemicals. And like we said before, those phytochemicals have a mechanism in them that help turn off or on the way cancer spreads, develops, and grows. So we want those pathways to be turned off in a cancerous state. And so that's why eating produce is so incredibly important. So I want to leave you with one final thought. I read this in one of the sources. I also love the book Cancer's Best Medicine, but I think this came from the Cancer Fighting Kitchen. And so our body, so think of the cancer as a weed and think of your body as a garden. And so our job is to try and get the soil as inhospitable as possible to the weed, right? So it's much like tending to a garden. And so we know that one of the major ways that we can get that soil, our body, to not allow weeds to grow or to prevent them from growing is to eat produce. And so I hope this was of value to you tonight. I had a lot of fun. Sorry about my little glitch with the produce spilling out of the bowl, but it's a lot of produce, right? So I can't wait to read your comments on what you guessed, and feel free to pass this along to anyone that you know that has cancer or knows someone with cancer that you think could be blessed by this. So see you later.